You're listening to GotTechED the Podcast with your hosts, Eric Guise and Nick Johnson. Welcome back to GotTechED the Podcast. This is episode 139 called 24 Websites Teachers Should Know About, Part 2. In this episode, we'll share the final 12 of 24 websites that teachers can use in their classrooms to help with everything from editing your writing to finding cool sound effects. This is another episode you don't want to miss. Check it out.
So I think this is our last episode of our teaching school year, I believe, right?
Correct. Yeah, we're really winding down. A lot of you guys listening to this might already be out of school or in your last week. We are here in New Jersey. We end a little bit later than a lot of other places, so we're closing in. I think we've got like 3 more weeks left as we're sitting down to record this. But the end is certainly in sight. There's energy in the air. The kids are a little bit wild this time of year, but it's also, I don't know, it's just a good atmosphere. Everybody's in like a little bit of a lighter mood and ready to move on.
Yeah, so this year it's actually early for us because we usually get out somewhere around my son's birthday, which is the 20th, and I think we get out the 16th this year. So
right.
Pumped that it's a little bit earlier. I wish that we would start the school year earlier and a little bit earlier like Pennsylvania does. But, you know, all is all. We'll take it. We'll take it. So let's get into our updates. Last couple episodes, we've been talking that we'll be at ISTE, and we will be. And I have the details here for you. We're doing a presentation on our Edtech Throwdown. It's called Personalized Learning Edition. So Edtech Throwdown Personalized Learning Edition, which is our favorite thing to do at presentations. We get to do like a quick guide to several different tools that we've tried and we really liked. This will be on Monday, June 26th from 4 to 5 p.m. The location is 119 AB, which means nothing to me right now, but I'm sure it means something to us when we get down there. Hopefully that means we're on the first floor. I'm not even sure if the conference goes any other levels, but it's been a while since we've been to the convention center. The other thing is we're constantly adding to our website, GotTech.com. On there you could find the Theaiteacher.tips page, and if you're interested in artificial intelligence and kind of what it's doing and how it's shaping education, make sure that you go check out the Theaiteacher.tips page on GotTech.com. And then finally, I should be posting my annual blog on educational podcasts that inspire educators sometime within the next couple of weeks. If you have any suggestions, make sure you reach out to me on Twitter at GuiseGotTech, and I'll make sure to take a listen to any episode that you recommend and perhaps put that podcast episode featured on to my blog article that gets a lot of traffic. Even if you are the podcaster, feel free to nominate your own, especially if it's not on the list from last year, because I just like to showcase all our teacher friends out there that are podcasting and doing good things for the teaching community.
This podcast is a proud member of the Teach Better Podcast Network. Better today, better tomorrow, and the podcast to get you there. You can find out more at teachbetter.com/podcasts. Now let's get back to the episode.
So what do you say we keep the introduction and updates short and jump straight into our last 12 websites?
Yes, well, I think it was pretty long as is, but let's get right into segment 2. And I think you're going to start us off here with one that looks pretty awesome.
Yeah, this is really cool. It's called archive.org, so you can get there by simply typing that into any URL bar. And this is an internet archive, as the name suggests. Which doesn't sound super exciting, but man, this is so cool because of how much stuff is there. So it's a nonprofit organization that sort of hosts this website, and they have literally millions of free stuff on file. And I say stuff because they have everything. They've got books that you can click on and download the digital book. They've got movies. They've got software. They've got music. They even archive old websites and like a ton more stuff. There's web-based things. There's text, like I said, video, audio. There's even TV shows that are on this. I'm just going through all the little icons. What is this one? Software. So like old software programs that you can actually download here. It seems like these guys just want to be, what is this one? Concerts. Cool. Images, concert recordings. See, the list goes on and on. There's almost too much for me to even talk about on this website. But this type of thing is great for classroom research projects. This type of thing is great for, say you're trying to find a video that maybe you can't get to on YouTube, or you can't download on YouTube, or maybe you just can't find anywhere online anymore. These archive websites a lot of times will have stuff like that. And it looks like archive.org is one that just has a ton of stuff. Their things are also grouped into some collections that are pretty interesting. So if you just go to the homepage and scroll down to the bottom, they've got groupings of things like, for example, one of them is called the Live Music Archive. So I'm assuming that would be a lot of their concert recordings. There's one called Canadian Libraries, which is a whole bunch of different stuff, all related to Canada. Another one called the Phone Software Archive, which is exactly what it sounds like. It's an archive of, old retired Android apps and metadata on those apps. So that's maybe if you're interested more in the computer side of things. But just so cool and so many different things. I would encourage you to check it out. I've already spotted like 2 or 3 different things that I think I could incorporate to some of the more creativity-based projects that I do with my students throughout the year, like the podcasting project that I'm knee-deep in right now. Some pretty neat ideas and sound effects that I could get from this archive. So that's a cool one. Archive.org. Check it out.
Yeah, I like that one because anytime you are doing a project and you could give students a one-stop shop that's going to help them with their project, I think that's a win-win. My first one is called iconscout.com. As you could guess probably from the name, it is about icons. There's a lot of icons and different types of icons. There's illustrative icons, 3D illustrations, and Lottie animations. I'm not sure what a Lottie animation is.
Me neither.
It kind of looks and reminds me of a GIF. And there's constantly being icons being added to the site. There's 7,000 plus new ones daily that they say that they add. So it's the world's largest icons collection. So if you take a look at the website, there are a couple things that stick out to me. Just the quality of these icons is pretty amazing. It's not your typical low res icon. You can get ones that are animated, like there's a home button that is a record. It looks like a vinyl record, and you can change the color to it. And there's like the record is spinning round and round. So it just brings a little bit more attention to the home button. There are collections of icons. So you can go in there, and if you want to market it or marketing animated icon pack, you could download the pack. Like I said, they come in vector images, 3D images, just flat icons, things like that. You could easily edit these icons, like if you want a different color. If you have a home button that is black right now, you can edit it to be purple, pink, red, orange, blue. There are also several different home button icons there that look different. So that's pretty cool. Another thing that I like is they have plugins that you could download with your different types of products. So if you're on Apple, there's an Apple plugin. There's a window plugin. Figma, drag and drop plugin. Adobe XD, Sketch, G Suite, Office, Illustrator, Photoshop, and now Canva. And that one's new, is the Canva one, which I'm very, very interested in because that's something that I use all the time. So check out Icon Scout if you have any use for designing something with icons on it.
Which we all do. I mean, I think I talk about this a lot, I'm afraid, on this show, but like every time I start a new topic or subject or unit or chapter, whatever you want to call it, in my chem classes, I always try to, give each of those units, let's say, a common theme, and that theme is often just a fancy looking little icon that goes at the top of every, resource page or website or presentation or worksheet related to that. And typically I get them from a site called The Noun Project, which I would recommend that one as well if you guys want to check out something a little bit simpler. But man, iconscout.com, if you really want to get into it, as you could probably have guessed from Guise's description there, Icon Scout has a ton of stuff, and like more than just downloading a black and white icon, which you can do from Noun Project for free. You can get colored ones there as well, but they charge you. But this has just so much stuff. What an amazing resource to check out, and those plugins, extra interesting. That's a whole world to dive into. My next one is called PDFdrive.com, and this is maybe going to tie in with our next episode, which will be our summer to-do list, or stuff we're looking forward to over the summer. One of the things we always talk about in that summer episode is summer reading, and typically that involves buying a book, but maybe it doesn't have to involve buying a book, because at PDF Drive, they have 84 million ebooks downloadable for free, no ads, no limits. They're not going to stop you if you do 3 in a day or something. And, it's all for free, just there. And they've got, these are high quality books, books that people would actually go out and buy. You might be able to find it as a free PDF download here. Here's a couple of the ones they're featuring on their main page. I Am Malala, the story of the girl who stood up for education. Resisting Happiness, a true story about why we sabotage ourselves. So they've got some self-help books, parenting books, motivational books, pretty much any kind of book you want. But they're here in downloadable form. So this looks really cool. I'm going to check it out, because often what stops me from doing that summer reading is I never actually take the time to go pick up a copy of the book or order the book. And with this, maybe I don't have to. So check it out, pdfdrive.com.
Yeah, summer reading for me is big, because I am a big nonfiction reader. I love to read nonfiction. I love to absolutely wreck the book. So pretty much anytime I buy a book, it's mine. I can't really pass it on unless people don't mind reading my notes that I put on the side. So as I read, I like to reflect on it and make personal connections and put it on the side of a book, and then at the end I go back and I reread everything that I put in the spine of the book. But to be honest with you, I'd probably like reading it on a piece of paper better, just because of how I annotate it and really wreck the book in a good way, I would say, because it does help with reflection. Let's get into my next one. It's called soundeffectsplus.com. I'm not going to say too much about it other than it has a huge collection, over 5,000 free sound effects recorded. It's designed by a team of audio professionals who own the copyright, but they give a lot of permissions out for each specific or sound effect, I should say. So you can use them in your projects. For some of them, you just got to make sure that you read the license agreement. Most of them say that you have to give credit, or you could use them in projects that you're not making money off of, or you can buy a license if you are making money off of them. Each one's different, so you have to go check those out. There are a lot of different ones. They're in a lot of categories as well. And like I said, a lot of them are free to use. You could go in and look at the ones that are more popular right now, like the bow and arrow hitting a target, go-kart track ambience, footsteps running on the road. So in our classes that we do podcasts, we had one student that did all of her own sound effects for her podcast. So I could see this being very useful for that because, every time a door creaked in her podcast, it was a storytelling podcast, she put that creaking door in there. And the way that these are organized, you could easily get to what she needed. So I think this is an awesome one. Go check out soundeffectsplus.com.
This next one is really fun too. It's called playphrase.me, playphrase.me. More just a for fun site. I think I could see kind of making a little game out of this perhaps. But the way it works is you go there and there's a little search bar at the bottom of the screen and you can type in like any phrase or sentence you want that either is in a movie or you think might be in a movie. The one that popped up when I went to the homepage just now is good night, which I would never think of that, but they suggested that as one. And what it does is it's going to search and show you all, in this case, 91 movies that have the phrase good night, and it's going to play the clip from that movie where it's being said. So for, good night, the first one is from A Beautiful Mind. I didn't know that was in A Beautiful Mind, but it is, and I can watch the clip where Russell Crowe says it. And the next one is from The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. Never saw that, but I guess they say good night. The next one is from Milk, and then some movie called Over the Edge. The list goes on. There's 91 of these things. They even include, is that a TV show? No, it's a movie too. So I think it is just movies, but it's just really fun. And kind of the thing for me would be, I could see sitting maybe with my class the last day of school, or maybe even just a group of friends and typing in a phrase and then trying to guess what each of the movies is. I think this could be a good old time. And that is, again, called playphrase.me. Super cool little resource there.
Yeah, I like that one a lot. I like all those different tools that allow us to find things that we might need very, very quickly. And I think that is one of them. Get into my next one. It's called the HemingwayApp.com. And the Hemingway app really makes your writing bold and more clear. So you could go in there and students can type away whatever. Let's just say I would probably use this for a do now or a pre-writing exercise where they go in there and they might write or take a stab at a paragraph with a topic sentence, some background evidence, some analyzing, and a wrap-up sentence. They can type all that into Hemingway, and then there's a button up at the top that says edit. So there's a writing tab, a toggle, and an edit toggle. So when you write, nothing shows up. It's just your typing. That's it. And it's very clear. But when you go to edit, what it's going to do is it's going to analyze what you typed. So for the example that they use, it's really just showing you, it's the directions on how to use the Hemingway app. And the first sentence comes up highlighted yellow, which means that it's very hard to read. The next sentence comes up red, which means it's very, very hard to read. And what they mean by that is it's so dense and so complex that it should probably be broken into 2 sentences and simplified. It's very wordy if I would actually read it. If you see a red highlight, your sentence is so dense and complicated that your readers will get lost try to follow its meandering, splitting logic. Try editing the sentence to remove the red. All right, so it's giving students feedback right in this. This is absolutely free, and it does give your writer some stats there, like what grade level did they write at? So this one is at a grade 6. Actually, it asks them to select their grade level, and it tells you if you're at least writing at a grade 6 level. It tells you how many letters you use, characters you use, words you use, sentences, and paragraphs. And then it will give you other feedback, such as you have 2 adverbs meeting the goal of 2 or fewer. You have 1 sentence written in passive voice, which you might want to go back and address. The phrase has a simpler alternative, so they're being too wordy, too complex, so they can shorten that up. So in this case, the one that they used is you can utilize a shorter word in place of a purple one. So they're saying utilize could be used for something different, I guess, there. So when you hover over it, it gives you alternatives, such as instead of utilize a shorter word, it just says replace or omit. So you could choose one of those two to put in there. But overall, I would say this is pretty awesome, especially now that, some of our other tools that we would always use, like Grammarly, now has all that AI built into the tool. So instead of having the AI do it, maybe you just ask them to use Hemingway, and Hemingway will give them suggestions, but it's not going to automatically edit everything with the AI that pops up.
Yeah, this is my tool of the show, a website of the show. So neat the way it highlights things and like very clearly indicates not just where there's problems in writing, but what needs to be fixed. I, as a science teacher, I struggle a lot getting the kids to write well. I think they can write much better than they do for me because they're like, I'm in science. Writing is not a concern. But at least it should be in all classes because writing is like everything. We've talked before about how we spend most of our days writing to people in some form or another. So you got to be good at writing. Doesn't matter what you do. I love this tool, Hemingway Editor. The next one's really great too. It's called simplepdf.eu. And this is essentially an online PDF editor. I get this a lot from teachers here at our school that come to me with a PDF where they either can't enter things into the fields properly the way they want to or at all, and they're frustrated. And that's kind of the idea behind a PDF, right? Is it's not as easy to edit. So if you have something that's a little more secure where you don't want people changing it, use a PDF. Well, that can be frustrating too. But with this simplepdf.eu, it actually makes that really easy.
Yeah, I love these ones. These quick grab and go, does a specific function or has a specific purpose. These are the ones that we like to keep in our back pocket as Edtech coaches. And I think this is one that's going to definitely go there because it's just super simple and there's no sign-ups or gimmicks or anything like that. You don't need to try to guess which one of the download buttons is an advertisement versus the actual thing that you want to download. It's super clean. So that's a great one. My next one is an AI tool. And I typically shy away from all these, hey, just describe what you want and we'll make you an app. But I really like this one. It's called buildai.space. And really, if you're a decent, not even a decent, you don't need to be decent for this tool, prompting, writing a prompt. If you think about everything that you want in a spreadsheet or something like that, this prompt that you create will make an app for you. For example, if I said that I wanted to go on a diet, which I don't, but I should. I got that insulated six-pack and everything going for me. Dad bod, whatever you want to call it. But anyway, say I wanted to go on a diet. I wanted to start making a healthy meal to replace my dinners. My dinners right now are kind of a grab-and-go type thing where, I'm not really trying to keep my calorie intake under a certain level. But say for a couple weeks before we get out of school, maybe I want to shed those 5 pounds. I could just go in there and put, please make me an app that is a meal plan for the next month where I only have 500 to 600 calories for this meal. Please give me the recipes, the descriptions, and any other things that I might need in order to make this meal. Include how long it's going to take for me to prepare it and cook it. And then hit enter. And then all of a sudden what you're going to see is a button that says generate app, and it will go do it for you. And it will turn it into an app for you. All right, so it's pretty cool. There's one on here that they asked for vegan food, and they typed in please exclude all foods that have a peanut allergy. And they ran that one, and it's like breakfast, lunch, dinner, and a snack in there. All right, so this may not be tailored to education, but it doesn't mean it can't be. You can come up with ways of keeping track of your students, especially at the elementary level. We keep asking elementary teachers to keep the progress of their students, especially the skills, as they go throughout the year. So why not try to make an app for that if you don't already have something that works? That's what I'm trying to say. It's super easy. It takes like 5 minutes, and if you don't like it, that's 5 minutes that could have saved you a whole lot of time if you do find something useful.
It reminds me of, I don't know, I'm going to say 10 years ago when, iPhones really became, it's longer than that, but like really when everybody had phones that had apps. There's a little phrase that people were saying for a while, which was, there's an app for that. Because at the time, there's just this explosion of, there's an app for this, there's an app for that. And now we don't say that anymore because we just accept it, right? We know there's an app for that. It's not like a thing. But maybe the phrase of the 2020s is going to be, you can build an app for that. Because with AI like this, you don't even need to know how to code, really, because it can do all of that automatically for you. And this is really, really cool. So is my next resource, which is called OnlineSequencer.net. This is one of many tools that will allow you to create your own music. I'm going to try a little experiment here. While you were talking over that last one, I was clicking on some squares in different note ranges. I don't know anything about music at all. I took like 5 guitar lessons when I was in middle school, and that's about it. So I have no idea what I've put together here, but I'm going to click play on my song and see. It's probably going to sound like garbage, but let's give it a listen. There you go. So that is about 10 seconds of me clicking on these little squares in different notes and letting it play through with the instrument electric piano suggested. Here's why I like stuff like this. And a lot of teachers at our school and all over the place now are doing podcasting projects or video projects. We do a whole course where students podcast, and one of the problems is finding music that is not copyrighted that you can actually use. And there's lots of ways to get music. But one place that I plan on taking my class projects next year is having them use some of these tools to make their own music. You can see from that little clip, you don't really need skill. You need to just, know a couple things about how to work this. On this particular one, you just click in different notes that you want to play and then sort of replicate that for a few beats down the line. You can get really fancy with this if you want and set different time signatures and instruments, and there is a lot you can do here that I'm not going to get into because I'm not a music person. But the point is, you could make your own little intro music segment, and if you make it and download it, then you don't have to worry about any of these copyright issues that we run into where you're essentially stealing someone else's creation. And I say with these online tools like OnlineSequencer.net, why not do that? Why not let kids know? And we've actually have kids all the time that know a lot about making music. There's one in our class right now, and that's like, I'm pretty sure how this kid spends all his time is just in his room putting different mixes and beats together. And then kids like that are really going to be able to run with this and maybe even help out some of the other ones that are just learning about making their own music for the first time. But this is a cool resource. It's at OnlineSequencer.net.
So I told you earlier that I really like all these curated sites where you could go and you can find pretty much anything that you would need in one area. And my next one is about that too, but it's about that with news and articles and things like that. It's called AllTop.com. And what it does is it takes all the top news, it categorizes it, and it puts it in one spot. The homepage for this is just all the top places to get news, like the New York Times front page, TechCrunch, Mashable, Reddit News, The Verge, TechMeme, NPR News, Washington Post, CNN, things like that. And what it does is it lists the top 5 or 6 articles, I guess it's getting the most traction. But there are several different topic headings up at the top, such as viral, which is all the viral things, news, technology, sports, entertainment, lifestyle, business, and other. So if I go under viral and I click on it, it's coming up with dozens of drones attack Moscow. Wagner boss denies coup. So there's a lot of stuff on here that's getting the buzz at this point in time of the day on June 1st, 2023, when we record this. So the biggest thing is the drone attack. So it will show you that if we go to entertainment and we click on entertainment, it's going to come up with a whole set of things on entertainment and those popular news styles. Same thing with business and sports. Like the Yankees lost last night, 1-0, and there's an article that says, "What's wrong with the Yankees?" I'm just going to tell you it's one game, they'll be okay. But I really like these types of sites because especially if you're teaching something, a current events class or something like that, world news, you can go and you can find this stuff in one spot. So as a teacher, maybe I want to start every Friday off with a current event. Then maybe I'll just go onto the site on Friday and I'll find a current event, bring it up, have them read it as they walk in, and then we'll talk about it for a couple seconds. Or maybe you want to have your students find current events, find one that they like, that they want to talk about. You could tell them about AllTop.com. They could come here, find their own. Maybe they get in a circle or small groups and they take turns sharing their article with their other peers. And then after they share their articles in small groups, they find the one that they like to represent their group, and they share that one with the class. So there's a lot of exposure to articles about a certain topic or a lot of exposure to current events so we can all stay up to date with the times.
And then my last one is for those of you that really want to go deep into the AI world. It's called huggingface.co. It's hard for me to describe what huggingface.co actually does because while I know a lot about AI as it pertains to education and its use, I don't know a lot about the sort of back end stuff about how it's used. So I'll just say if you're into that, check it out. It's, generally they are trying to be it seems to me like a spot where anyone can go to sort of bring together the best AI chat models that exist, at least as of right now, and make them available to people to use for all kinds of different purposes. The reason we're bringing it up on the show is because one of the really cool models available there that I think is just super fun is you can upload a picture of your choice and then insert a prompt that will, a request to change that picture. So I could put a picture of my face and then ask it, can you change my nose into a clown nose? Or can you change my face so that I'm part human, part lion, let's just say, whatever you want. And it's going to do it. And that is a very interesting manipulation. I know there's tons of AI editing tools out there right now, but this one, the ability to change something that you upload, you can even draw a picture yourself from the beginning and then have it adjust that. Really, really awesome. And, that's the main reason we're bringing it up. But like I said, if you're deep into AI, tons of cool stuff here at huggingface.co.
That one's cool. I'm not going to lie, all these AI picture editors, I could see how these can be used in a terrible, terrible way. But I could also see how they could be used in a beneficial way. I love just trying different prompts and trying to figure out how we can manipulate AI to make us something really, really abstract and cool. All right, my last one is ed.ted.com. So I used to really like watching TED Talks. I used to do it once every morning or a couple times a week or or whatever it may be. But I just felt with all the TEDx stuff, it was kind of in how popular TED Talks got, that it was really straying away from what I wanted it for, which I wanted to learn something about something around education or bettering myself. And I felt like there were a lot of business things out there and topics that did not relate to me. So ed.ted.com, what that does is it really just organizes all these TED Talks into ones that are specific for education. And what's cool about this site is that there's a place where it says students start here, educators start here, parents start here. So it's going to further, separate the different videos that fit education into a smaller collection just by clicking on students, educators, and parents. I clicked on the students one, and I really, really, really like the one video. It's called What is Imposter Syndrome? And I know that we talk about this in our classes all the time as podcasters. Imposter syndrome is real. I'd say that it took us probably 100+ episodes for us to not feel like podcasting is a bunch of frauds. I mean, do we really know enough about EdTech to talk about it all the time? And at first we were like, we're staying one step ahead of our listeners. And I'd argue that a lot of teachers stay one step ahead of their students when they teach, especially when they're teaching something new. It doesn't make you an imposter. It just means that, you may not have your double doctorate in that topic, but you are knowledgeable about it, and you're more knowledgeable than the people that you're teaching, or the people that I'm listening to in this TED Ed is more knowledgeable about the topic than I am. So I really like watching these. When I click on educators, these seem to be more of a collection of ways that you can get involved with TEDx, and also they seem to be more of a PD type thing that you can watch. So there are a lot of ideas that will allow you to spark the curiosity of learners. So if you click on those, really you're clicking on discoverable lessons. And you're looking at a lot of the same ones that the students are looking at, but you're looking at it in a different way, like the way of the teacher and how they would bring it into the classroom. So I think that is super, super awesome. It's basically lessons at the tip of your fingers. If I would use a TED Talk, I would just use clips of the TED Talk in my classroom. I very rarely have students sit down and watch a complete video or documentary or something like that, unless it's a special occasion. But I do like taking chunks of videos, 2-3 minutes, that's going to help get a point across, or it's going to portray something that we could talk about in deeper detail. So TED Ed, go check it out.
And that wraps up our list of 12, our final of the 24 actually, but 12 for this part 2. As always, everyone, do us some favors. Please subscribe on Apple, or check us out on Spotify or Google Podcasts, or really anywhere you get podcasts. Our YouTube channel, you can just search for GotTech the Podcast and you'll find us. Twitter, you'll find us as well. We've each got our own Twitter handles. Nick got teched, Guise got teched, or we got teched if you just want to follow the show. You can also write us a review. That would be extra helpful. Check out our website, GotTechED.com, for all of the episode releases and much more. You can tell your friends that we exist and other educational podcasts exist. If you're doing that, you could also tell your friends about the Teach Better Podcast Network that we are a part of, where you can find us and many other awesome educational themed podcasts. Thanks a lot for listening. Thanks for listening to GotTech the Podcast. Remember to subscribe to our show and follow us at WeGotTech on Twitter so you can stay up to date with the latest episode releases, blog posts, product reviews, and PD announcements. You can also follow Guise and I individually at Guise.tips and at Nick.tips on Twitter or on Instagram at Nick.tips. Finally, remember to check out our website, GotTechED.com, where we post all our episodes, articles, and resources available to you for free. Until next time.